Hey guys, Mike here. Oh boy, what a day in the market. And boy, was it a day in the market, let me tell you. It was a roller coaster, literally. And I mean, you got CPI coming out, comes in higher than expected. It's like, oh, here we go, red, red, red. And nah, the market was like, I don't think so, right? And so it was really surprised. I'm going to go into that. The charts to show you exactly. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll show you where some of these indexes bounced at, and you'll get to see. Make sure you put those on your chart, by the way. And then we're going to Tesla because it didn't care about anything going on in the world today. It was on fire. And then we're going to some earnings and stuff and what to expect for tomorrow. But CPI, I like this chart because you can see it all right here, guys. And this, you can see starting in June, right, going from 9.1 down, right, you get these big moves down, right, 9.1 to 8.5 to 8.3, 8.2, and then we start ramping up. 0.6 down, 0.4 down, but then all of a sudden, wait a minute, 6.4, it's supposed to be 6.2, 6.1. Well, it came in higher than expected, right? And you can see right here, just looking at the bars over here, this is one without food energy and one with food energy. And you can see month over month, higher than the ones to the left, as you can see. And this kind of sums up right. Look at this roller coaster. It never fails. It goes up, then we drop. And then we go up again, then we drop. Then we go up again, and then we drop. And now are we on the move back up again? Is that what we're doing here? Or you think we're going to drop next month, right? And the crazy part was, looking at the inflation data, remember we got the new weights and we got the new formula, right? And the stuff that went up, some of it went up double digits in January. Okay, we're talking about important stuff like housing, rents, things of this nature. And it's just amazing to watch the market, right? That's why you got to watch, how does the market react? And the market just, whatever. Just kind of shrugged it off. It's like, anyway. And so, again, what's running the market, right? It's not this. It used to be CPI was a big thing. They're expecting some big move. Well, it did a big move up, then a big move back down, right? I mean, look at this chart right here. As you can see right here, gap down, ramped up, and it went, oh my goodness. And the bulls were like, this is fantastic. They don't even care. What happened? But as you can see, as soon as we hit that trend line right there that we have bounced off of multiple times, which was support, now resistance, you can see ended up getting rejected hardcore. Then, of course, the bulls like, hopefully they got out and got their money on those options, those ODT options everybody was buying, right? And then we come back down, then what happens? Wait a minute. We hit what? The double top support line here. As you can see, we scroll back. There's a double top support right there, which was resistance, now support. Now ends up being support again. So the bulls like, this is fantastic. We can't drop no matter what, right? And then it ramps back up and then just finishes basically flat for the day. What happened to the Qs? The Qs were green for the day. Risk on, baby. That's what this is all about. And I put this down in the Discord. What happened? We end up hitting a very important trend line, right? Right there, rejected down to the penny on it after we moved up really, really fast. And then, of course, went right back up to it at the end of the day. And that's pretty much where we ended at, right? And if we pull back out, you can see right here that we've rejected off this multiple times. And the big question is, will we finally break out or just continue to trade in a chop box? And speaking of Tesla, like I said, Tesla didn't care about any of it. Tesla gapped down and then just melted up all day long. Once it broke above 200, you can see it's kind of like a magnet for it. It broke loose of that, bam, goes to 210, stops below 210. And of course, why does it stop below 210? Because this is a soap opera and we got to wait for tomorrow to actually sit here and go, oh yeah, look, we're either going to break out or sell back off. That's the big question, right? Now, speaking of Tesla, if, again, these are the options. Here's the 200. What do you see next? 210 down here, 220, okay? And look at that, 250. So here's the thing. We get above 220, you could do the same thing what happened between 200 and 210, right? You could just have this nice little run going up there because there's no point in market makers getting involved in this mess, right? That's this week. Of course, we have monthly options expiring, right? And so, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot, but a lot of people got 250s, right? And so if we end up looking out even further, you can say this is next week. All of a sudden, numbers get smaller on those, but then there's 240s, right? So again, we're already above 200. If you can stay above 200 and get above 210, you could absolutely have a run. If we go even farther out than that, look at these. I mean, people got 300 calls, 250s again, 230s. And so super bullish, right, on Tesla. That's what people are. And so people are buying them like crazy right now. And the other thing to look at, and this happens to coincide while I say this, that trend line, right, which we rejected off multiple times. Remember I said, what was it, a week or two ago? This is what I want to see the test of, and that coincides with about 230, 240. How fast will we get up there if we continue to go? We'll have to see. Remember, Tesla is its own ecosystem, so never say it can't do it. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And if you're getting anything out of this, please hit the like and think about sharing the video, guys. And so let me know down in the comments what you think about that. Because again, I've showed you this before. I don't know if it's JP Morgan or whoever showed you this, the two accounts where people just start buying calls. The market makers have to hedge, and it just ramps this whole thing up, right? And you can see, even when the market was all over the place, Tesla was just consistently going up, right? Once it did that initial bounce down and got up, it just kept going. That and NVIDIA, two huge retail stocks. And once they buy in those stocks, they don't sell, right? That's the big thing. And so the NVIDIA actually has earnings coming up here, I believe, on the 22nd, I think. But we'll see where that one goes. But those two have just done huge moves, and options are all over the place on them. So, and it seems like really bullish. So we'll have to see about that. Again, let me know in the comments what you think about Tesla. Think it's going there? You think you finally get a sell-off? As again, we're going back into overbought territory again. But again, I've showed you it can stay in overbought for a long time. And right now, it seems like we're just stuck on the indexes in between, these resistance and support lines and trend lines and everything else. So again, it's like I was telling people, if you plan on trying to go down fast, if this report didn't get it down fast, right, if we come in hot on CPI and the market just shrugged it right off. Even JP Morgan, which I put in the Discord about their plan, they said if we came in at 6.4 or higher, there was going to be a 1 to 1.5% sell-off. Yeah, right. That didn't happen, right? And so even the big boys don't know what to make of how this is playing out, right? So now that lets us know, and I'll ask you this before I get into this other stuff. Now that you see short covering start to fizzle out, now that you see meme stock mania start to kind of fizzle out, and a lot of them have come down quite a bit now that people got their money and ran, right? Earnings is coming to a close. Any earnings that could have moved this market is gone, right? And so that's out the window. Now you have CPI, which came in higher than expected, didn't even put really a dent in the market, right? And then you don't have a Fed meeting until March 21st, and then guess what? There's not one in April, okay? So you have basically like a 60-day run without it. What moves the market from here? What's the catalyst to go up or down, or really down is the bigger question. What's the catalyst to go down? Without a black swan event, without something crazy happening, there's no earnings going to do it. There's nothing with the FOMC going to do it. The CPI data didn't phase it. You might have a big sell-off tomorrow. Who knows? You know how the market is. But again, there are so many ODT options right now that aren't allowing this market to move like it should. And then we're sitting here with plenty of support lines kind of set in place and black pool lines kind of set in place. I did a video for the members that day, kind of set beneath us, that I think it's going to be a lot tougher to move down than people think, right? And when you look above, though, you kind of go, well, yeah, if you break out those trend lines and you see all these different bullish options going on and people start to move back in the market, you could see it go up. So, I mean, it's something to think about, but let me know in the comments what you think because, I'm just looking at it going, if this doesn't phase it, what does, right? To end up flat on the day off of that mess and looking at if you look behind the numbers were not good. They really weren't, especially what affects consumers going up again. That's what I was looking for. I said, what's the narrative going to be when we finally hit sticky inflation and inflation starts to kind of flatline and barely go down or just kind of stay the same and stay well above 2%? Because again, even the Fed and Jerome, Papa Powell admitted the service sector inflation, not a dent in it, hadn't touched it. Can't touch employment because we have a huge shortage of workers. I saw a video, which I got to put in the Discord too, and on Patreon talking about, what's happening now is different than ever before. People think it's 65 and older people retiring. It's not. It's younger people actually leaving the workforce, younger than that, and not coming back. Again, and so who's going to replace them? Couldn't tell you. It's something we've never seen before. But if you think things are bad, you've been listening to these earning reports on EPS, let me give you a picture worth 1,000 words here and let you know it ain't as bad as it looks right now. This is EPS drawdown to S&P. And that's where we're at right there. That's the same level as 2014-15, which, again, I can't think anything happened there. The market sold off a little bit. But this is where it could go. Like, this is bad. Like, that's bad EPS drawdown, right? And that's where we're at. That little blip over there, that's where we're at. So, it can always get worse because God knows these earnings hadn't been good at all anyway, and the market's shrugging them off right now. And the other thing you got to look at is this right here, the Fed funds future curve. I reported on this last week. I will keep you updated on this. Again, January 2nd is the line below where they said we were going to be on January 2nd. The top was like 4.95 or something, the highest it would go. And then they would start cutting in July, I believe it was, right? Now look at it now. Now all of a sudden they got up at like 5.2 at the high before they start cutting, supposedly, even though there's less cuts. And so the ending result as of January 24th would be 4.5 originally, and now it's up to almost 4, it's over 4.9. And so 0.4% is a big difference when you're talking about a Fed funds rate, okay? Because that affects everything else, right? Mortgage rates, everything you can think of, it affects, right? It's going to affect the yields on the bonds and all that fun stuff. And so, they're still trying to figure that one out. And a lot of people, I'm telling you, I'm just saying what I'm hearing and reading. A lot of people are saying in March, because they're in a meeting in April, that they're going to pause. At that point in time, we'll put it at 5%, right? To me, it's like if they're really serious about inflation and not making the same mistake that Volcker made in the 70s, why would you stop, right? You would at least go. And a lot of people say that because that'll put it it'll put it over the 2-year. And normally when that happens, they pause. And so that's why I keep telling people about this rally. That's what a lot of this rally is, because there's no way you base it on fundamentals, right? This is them saying we bet they're going to pause. And I showed many times when the Fed pauses, the market parties like it's 1999. Okay, it just goes out of control because when they pause, they usually know what's next, right? The rate cuts come when the market or the economy falls off a total cliff. Is that going to happen this time? Couldn't tell you with this kind of market we're in right now. It's all these metrics and everything else are so messed up, and with employment where it is and all the open jobs, that's the big thing. Whole different ballgame right now. And right now, what are companies doing? They're getting rewarded for laying off people. That's just the way you got companies coming out now saying they're laying off 17% of their workforce and getting rewarded for that mess. And so that's the way it is, because they're cutting costs. So great, bottom line is going to look better. Is that good for the economy? No, because you got people out of work, but you have a lot of open jobs they can go get, right? And so speaking of earnings, what do we got coming up? You're going to end up having Roblox, Trade Desk, 2 in the morning to look out for. Kraft Heinz, I'm just paying attention for consumers, and then in inflationary, they still raising prices or not, because they were before. Shopify is a popular one that's been on a roll. Roku's been heavily shorted, so don't be surprised if it beats and it gets a huge pop up. Cisco's another one. Twilio, they announced a huge percentage of layoffs at their company, well ahead of earnings, by the way, so we'll see how that plays out for them. And then on the economic side, a ton of stuff coming out tomorrow. Core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing Index, retail sales month over month, industrial production month over month, business inventories month over month. Let's see if those have gotten better. NAHB housing market index, and then crude oil inventories. And so I just read today we're actually going to be releasing more oil from the reserve. So that one really surprised me, because I thought we were going to be buying it back, but they're releasing more. And so, again, we'll see with all this data coming out tomorrow. I can't imagine, because some of it's so bad, can it really get much worse? That's really the big thing, right? And the market's looking for any kind of improvement. But again, I still think we're just in this rally of they're going to pause, and we're going to keep rallying up until we get our pause. And if we're wrong, we'll just sell it back off. That's kind of how I see it. Let me know down at the bottom what you think. I personally, and I don't make predictions, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit, because last year what happened was the market got ahead of itself, thought a recession was coming. Now we're rallying back up because they realized they were wrong. But it wouldn't surprise me, you come out of the bear market, you rally up, and then all of a sudden, finally, all these rate hikes and stuff, all the liquidity has been taken out, starts to take effect finally, if the Treasury actually does fill up the general account again, things like that, and the Fed keeps rolling off the balance sheet, and then this whole reverse repo accounts start actually shrinking. That will be, actually increase, excuse me. Then that'll be the time to say, okay, now do you finally see a recession on the horizon or not? Like that's really what I'm looking at, but I can see that happening. It'll be, the first time I can think of it really happening, but it's getting ahead of the curve. But then again, that's what happens when you shut down the world and throw everything out of whack. So again, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Hit the like, subscribe button if you got anything out of this, and I will see you tomorrow.